What's your interior design style? Do you even have a style? Do you need one? Yes, you do. I explain why in this video, and I'll show you how you can dig deep into your interior style if you're struggling with that. There are two aspects of style that people often overlook, and I'll highlight them here. I'll also give you an insight into my style and how I got to where I am and some of the mistakes I made along the way. So make sure you catch this video. Style is all about creating a well-balanced, harmonious, aesthetically pleasing interior. And having a defined style gives you a framework for creating this space that works and that flows and that makes sense. That's why it's important to have a defined style. You also eliminate a lot of options because if you know what your style is, you narrow down your choices and it makes you more focused and obviously in a better position to get to the look you want to. So think about it, if you're writing a story, if you're going to write a fiction, you kind of need to know where you're going with it. Is it mystery, crime, drama, romance, science fiction, fantasy, travel? I mean, it could be a romantic fantasy or a science fiction travel, but you still get my drift. You still need to know where you're going. And that's the same thing with the style. It gives you a theme to create the room that you want. But I don't want to spend this video talking about the design styles themselves because that's not what the focus is. The focus is about you and what makes sense for you, because there's no point in picking a style that doesn't reflect your personality, it doesn't suit the person that's going to live in that interior, because you won't feel real, you won't feel authentic, and you won't be comfortable in your home. So it's about digging into a style that's going to make you feel at your optimum. So when you get up in the morning, you skip out the door, you feel great, and it's a place you can't wait to rush back into as well at the end of the day. So as I said, style is about creating something that looks good and works, and it's coherent and cohesive. But on top of that, it's not just about creating something that looks good, it's also about eliciting an emotional response. You need to create a feeling. So it's about ambience and atmosphere. And this is something people forget. A lot of people forget this when they're designing their spaces. How do you want the space to feel? How do you want to behave in the space? How do you want to feel in the space? How do you want other people to behave and feel as well? Is it going to be calm, relaxing, romantic, cozy, energetic, high vibe, airy, you name it? There's so many emotions that we can bring into our homes, and we need to be thinking about these when we're creating our spaces. The next aspect is when you've decided on your style and the mood, it's also about your personality. A style doesn't work if nothing of you is in that space, because you can decide, okay, you're modern farmhouse romantic, if that's your style and your mood choice. But if you don't bring anything of yourself into that space, it's going to look very flat, and it may not feel comfortable for you to spend time in that room because it doesn't say anything about you. So how do you actually find your style? This is the bit I love the most. It starts with you. So you've just got to spend some time interrogating yourself, digging deep into who you are as a person. Are you an introvert, an extrovert, somewhere in the middle? What do you like to do when you're not at work? What's your idea of a perfect weekend? Are you hiking in the mountains? Are you by the beach? Is it a city, buzzy restaurant with all your friends? Is it art galleries? What are you doing when you're having the perfect day? On the other hand as well, where do you not like to be? What's your idea of a space that makes you feel really uncomfortable? What kind of spaces set you on edge? Where can you not wait to escape from? Because this will inform your choices in terms of style. So I know myself, I don't do beige, bland, neutral, minimalist. Those kind of schemes make me really uncomfortable. They just bring my energy down. I feel like I want to lie down and sleep. And on the other end of the spectrum, over-the-top maximalism, that's just not my jam. So anything that's really busy, lots of wallpaper, loud prints, and loads of collectibles, busy furniture, clashing patterns, and I find that really stressful. So what I've created in here is a sweet spot, because it's not minimal, is it? And it's still quite colorful. In fact, when I talk about maximalism, you might think, huh? because that could be your version of maximalism, what I've created. But I find that what I have here in my home, in my apartment, is a sweet spot between the two extremes that I don't like. Another cool way of digging deep into your style is, what is your intention with your space? My intention is always joyful living. So everything comes back to that. The colors I use, the artwork I choose, just the way that the space is laid out in terms of being welcoming and relaxing, the textures, the furniture pieces, it's all about joyful living. It's also about, surprising people, amusing people, making them feel relaxed and comfortable. Try and create a mood book. That's what I love. I'm loving the idea of a mood book, because you're going to be looking for images that inspire you, whether you download them from Pinterest, or you pick magazine clippings, newspaper clippings, brochures, you name it. Just start going through these images and collating them, curating them into a beautiful scrapbook. This will inform where you're going in terms of your style. You're looking for mood, feeling, look, colors, fonts, you name it, anything that you think is appealing to you. And don't ask yourself too many questions at this point, about why you like a certain thing or you don't. Just put them in this book. As you're collecting these images, just see what's emerging, because you've done the work in terms of who you are as a person, what your idea of a perfect day is, and then look at the images you're collecting and see, are there any themes coming through? Is it kind of more sort of airy, open spaces, rustic, country, more sort of urban, edgy, glossy, shiny, modern? Do you get where I'm going with this? What are you seeing? What kind of a palette are you seeing in terms of color? Is it colorful or more muted? And then the aesthetic. What is aesthetic? Modern, traditional? Are you getting a feeling for busy or more lay-paired? Are you leaning more towards the minimal or the maximal? These are the kind of things you need to be thinking about. You may find that you're leaning towards several styles, but it may be helpful to pick one and then as a dominant look, and then have the other as a more subservient in terms of style. That way it's easy to create a look that's more cohesive and harmonious. So armed with this knowledge, now you've got these broad themes. Now go on to Instagram and Pinterest and see what images you can find that say something about what you know about yourself already. Because you see, you're driving the process. By doing this, you're driving the process. You're being proactive. Whereas if you just go straight onto Pinterest or Instagram and start looking for images, you'll be more reactive. You're passive, you're just receiving what the algorithm is feeding you. The way I'm suggesting is that you start with finding and digging deep into who you are and what makes you, what makes you unique. And then armed with that knowledge, going to look for images that reinforce what you already know about yourself. So now that you have your style and your mood, suppose it's contemporary cozy. That's what you've decided that best reflects you as a person or the people that live with you. It's not enough just then to go and create a room or a home that reflects the style. You have to bring yourself into it. If you don't bring yourself into it, it's going to look very flat and generic, and you're not going to be comfortable living in that home because it's not really saying anything about you. So what's my style? I guess you could say it's Africa modern, bold, bright, blended, whimsical. It's all about the energy of modern Africa in this space. Some people would say it's transitional because I do love to mix traditional vintage pieces with more modern, clean lines, contemporary. So one thing that's really important to me is mixing the two. So you could say it's also transitional. The two main things about the mood I'm trying to create in my space is relaxation and energy. I find this place, it's energetic as well as relaxing, and it's welcoming. So that's why I use bright colors. I use lots of fun motifs, artwork. It's all about creating this look that says, come in, take a seat, have a glass of wine or a cup of coffee. My style has evolved in terms of, I'm single now, I live alone. So I can express myself fully in my home. I don't have to answer to anybody else. When I was married, I always had to make compromises, and I was more conscious of creating a space that reflected the family. But now I don't have to do that. And obviously if you're living with other people, you need to be conscious of what the style aesthetics may be and seeing a way of bringing everyone's choices together in a way that makes sense. But as I said, now I take more risks and I'm evolving. I'm always looking for ways of enhancing my home. But I'm also conscious of my tendencies. I know myself. I have to check myself because I love collecting, I love art, I love decorative pieces. So I could veer towards clutter or visual noise. So I'm always very conscious of curating and eliminating because I know where I can go. And then when I look back on the room, especially the living area, it's changed a lot. Initially, it was there were too many modern pieces and they're kind of in conflict with each other because they're each very strong. So I've had to swap things out. I love the way it looks now because they're more vintage found, upcycled pieces mixed in with the modern, which I think reflects who I am as a person and what I believe about sustainability and history and creating memories in our spaces. You're not actually making mistakes, you're evolving and moving on. So watch this video next, because that explains a bit more about style, function and mood in terms of creating interiors. But ultimately it's about having fun. It's about having fun and enjoying the process and leaning into who you are as a person, because where else can you express yourself but your home? Apart from the way when you get dressed, where else do you get an opportunity to say something about who you are and what you love, where you live and where you're from? So really dig into this style journey. It's so much fun. Let me know if you've got any comments, drop me a line. If you want a one-to-one virtual room revamp session, I'm doing those, so ping me. Please share and subscribe. And then the notification bell so you don't miss any episodes. Next week's video is all about kitchen design. I'm gonna unveil my new kitchen, give you some kitchen design tips, rental hacks if you're renting, so make sure you catch that one.